Hi, I'm Mark Daly, Director of Training for Transformative Solutions. I work with leaders and managers to help them build the skills necessary to improve performance on their teams through communication. Today, I'm going to teach you the DISC personality style system, which is a great tool for managers to use when you've got a lot of conflicts going on in your team, or you just want to get everyone on the same page to improve the performance on the team. So I know where you're coming from in terms of managing a team that might be having breakdowns around communication. For 20 years, I worked as an immigration lawyer. I ran my own office. I had my own team, and I had to manage everybody. And we had all different types of personality styles in a hugely stressful environment, which was very fast-paced. And we were having communication breakdowns, misunderstandings, and conflicts. And the real problem was that our clients were picking up on it, and we weren't able to give our clients the type of service and real, work that needed to be done on their cases. So it was a big breakdown, a huge impact, and I was not satisfied with that at all. So I brought in a consultant to go ahead and teach us how to improve our communication, and she showed us the DISC. And we used this DISC training and started to look at our personality styles as a lens for understanding the source of our conflicts, the source of our breakdowns. And it was incredibly powerful for us. I did the training, we all did the training together as a team. And from that training, we really did a reset on the way that we wanted to work together. And we had this solid tool to use in navigating conflict, giving one another feedback, and really appreciating one another's good work. For me as a manager, I had to own my own stuff, I had to own my challenges, and I had to really also claim my strengths. And when I was able to do that, it set a positive tone for the whole team to do the same thing. And our team really excelled, increased the performance, much better product for our clients, and gained a really powerful reputation in the community. So that's my want for you. My want for you is to teach you how to use the DISC to manage your team and how to really set an example on this team of accountability and self-awareness. And the DISC allows you to do all of this. So that's why I really love the DISC. Let's say you have a challenge with your team not meeting their goals. You've communicated the goals to the team and you thought everyone was on the same page, and then all these obstacles and challenges just keep coming. They keep your team from meeting their goals. Maybe there's an unresolved conflict between team members that's causing this negative impact. Or maybe some team members are not taking feedback, or they're blaming one another. Or perhaps there are some misunderstandings based on different personalities or communication styles. How do we get everybody back on the same page and start to make improvements in their communication and their collaboration? A couple years ago, we were approached by a large Colorado government agency, and they had many of these problems going on in their managers. And these managers were recently promoted, so they had no skills at all in management. And so we got everyone together. We did a group of 200 actually managers. We put them through the DISC training. And we focused on adapting their communication styles to different personality styles. And there was a lot of feedback and pushback actually in the beginning of the training because they weren't comfortable doing it. They didn't know how to actually communicate in a different way. We heard things like, "Oh, I'll just be, blowing smoke," or "Why don't they just do their job? Why do I have to do all this communication stuff?" And we talked about leadership, and we talked about what really makes a good leader. And we talked about who are the leaders in your life that have really inspired you. And when you start to think about it that way, you realize, wow, this emotional intelligence thing is big. It really does create a lasting impact on a team when a leader can use emotional intelligence. So this is what we saw in this big government agencies after we went through the first round, was amazing results with the managers. And so the feedback we got was that the managers actually wanted to take this up to their supervisors and have the supervisors do this training. So we did. The next year, we did 80 supervisors in the DISC training. And the feedback from the HR executives is that there's been vast improvements in productivity in retention, loyalty, absenteeism. The beginning of a cultural change is actually happening in a hierarchical government agency. So this is why we love the DISC. Me personally, I've used it on teams, and I've also seen other teams that are really resistant to it get into it and create a huge improvement in the workplace. So we love DISC. In the 1940s, Walter Clark took the theory of William Marston and developed the first DISC personality profile. The system has been modified and customized over the past 80 years to be the easiest and most widely used assessment in the workplace today. So grab a pen and paper, and we're going to show you how to do a quick, big picture DISC assessment on anybody in 2 minutes. Okay, so grab your pen, grab your paper, and make a big plus sign on the paper. You have 2 lines, a vertical and a horizontal. The vertical line stands for pace. At the top is fast pace, at the bottom is more methodical and deliberate. Now think about your pace and your natural tendency. Think about your normal rate of speech, your normal pace of decision making. Are you thoughtful, methodical? Do you do a lot of research? Do you like to review a lot of details and then make a decision? Or do you just go with your gut, make quick decisions, and make fast judgments, and then take decisive action? You may adapt your style at work depending on what the workload is, and that's normal. What we want to do, though, is we want to determine your natural style. So try to think about your natural pace, like on the weekend, for example. So now you're going to put a dot someplace on the line. If you're like me, you'll put your dot above the line, up here. If you're like my accountant, Ken, you'll put it down here. Just don't put it in the middle because then the assessment won't work. Okay, the second line is horizontal, and it stands for your focus. Is your focus more on tasks, or is it more on relationship? Now, a good way to think about this is, are you naturally more trusting and accepting, which is on the right side, or more skeptical and challenging, which is on the left side? Again, your workplace environment might skew your results based on the tasks required. So even though I'm naturally more accepting, more open, my work as a facilitator often requires me to challenge workplace assumptions and ask very uncomfortable questions. And in my 20 years as an immigration lawyer, I was required to be on the task-oriented side a lot, especially going into court. Although I will say, I like to yuck it up with a judge a little bit, and so I even got my relational side in as a lawyer when I was doing my task stuff. So for me, I'm going to put my dot on this far side over here to the right, on the relational side. Remember, we have some of each, right? So go ahead and put your dot on the horizontal line. So now you have 2 dots on your lines. Connect the dots and your lines will intersect one of the 4 D, I, S, or C quadrants. Ta-da! Now you have your best guess at your style. Pretty easy, huh? Well, this is a high-level overview, of course. The actual DISC management assessment gives you so much more information. It gives you details about your style and a more precise way of measuring all of your team style and how you interact with other styles. So as a manager, you can go through this process for all of your team members just by observing their pace and their focus. Now, why would you want to determine the personality style of your team? Here's why. Successful managers know that they have to be able to adapt to changing workplace environments. You have new hires coming in, you might have new systems coming down, things are changing a lot. You have to be able to adapt. If you've read that book, Who Moved My Cheese? Spencer Johnson, it's a great book. This is the point of this book, is that to really thrive, you have to have the capacity to adapt quickly. And it really is like a survival thing that you need to know. So the DISC then allows you to adapt within an interpersonal work environment where communication is the main thing that you're going to be looking at. Diversity in the workplace is a given, especially through the lens of personality style. So you're going to have diversity on your team. From a manager's point of view, you want to be able to leverage this diversity to create good results on your team because you've got it. You've got diversity. This is a way for you to really maximize and actualize the team's performance based on their diversity. Managers have got to quickly and effectively guide new hires, help employees resolve conflicts, and motivate them. That requires what Patrick Lencioni, 5 Dysfunctions of a Team writer, would call the foundation of trust. You've got to have a foundation of trust in order to build the type of resiliency that it requires to have a dynamic team, which are going to be in conflict as they grow and they do more and more different types of varieties of tasks. So, research shows that managers can inspire teams to improve performance by referencing their own DISC style and openly discuss their own challenges and their own strengths. Teams who use the language of DISC quickly learn how to help one another overcome challenges. I'm telling you what my challenges are, and the natural tendency is for team members to go, oh, okay, I'm going to help you with that. That's not a challenge for me. Here, let me show you how. That's the dynamic that starts to occur. That's what we want to occur. And I can demonstrate for you how this works. So we start by looking at the 4 styles. So if your style is dominant, a D, you're fast-paced and task-oriented. You might have a tendency to focus on fast results and want things done quickly. You might challenge others' ideas quickly, and you may have a tendency to focus on what is not working so that you can fix it. If your style is influencing, like mine, you are fast-paced and relationship-oriented. You might be good with coming up with new ideas or want to support your team members to help them achieve their goals. You probably have a positive attitude for overcoming challenges, which I do. If your style is steadiness, you are methodical and relationship-focused. You tend to seek balance and harmony and are most likely uncomfortable with conflict. You really believe that things will work out in the end and you just want people to get along. If your personality style is a C, conscientious, that means you are going to be methodical and you're going to be task-oriented. You like to point out to others when things don't go as planned. You also like to take ample time and get some distance to think through and analyze a problem. You can generate options and create systems to overcome challenges, especially when they're process-oriented. So as a manager, you've got to know your style. It's really important to know your own style and be able to understand your own challenges and your own strengths and be able to talk about that in your team. This is the basic component of leadership that creates the type of team that's high performing. Now, most people are actually a combination of 2 styles, like a DI or an IS or an SC or a CD. So equally important is to know your opposite personality style because you're going to naturally have a challenge talking to people who are your opposite style. It's a given. There's no way around it. So take a D manager who has an S on their team. You're going to think to yourself, why don't they get it? Why don't they get it? Same thing for an S manager who has a D on their team. And for the I and the C, same thing. Why don't they get it? You know, when I was doing that team building DISC program with my law office, my best paralegal was a C. And here I am, an I. And we were having a lot of breakdowns. And she told me in the course of that training that my fast-paced kind of freaked her out a little bit and that she would really appreciate it if I could slow down. I had no clue that I had that type of impact. I thought, hey, we'll get in there, we'll get everything going and get it all pumped up and energized. And it shut her down. So when I got that feedback, I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to adapt my style for my paralegal. So I would literally, before I would go in, I would normally just run into her room and just say a bunch of stuff. I would take a pause and I'd go, okay, Joe Ray is a C, so I'm going to slow down. I'm just going to slow down, take a breath, get into some Joe Ray energy and slow down and get into some details. Give her a chance to process it and let her know that I'll be available later if she wanted to talk to me more about it. And the feedback from her was that was very powerful, created a lot less stress in the work, and she got to get her work done and did a better product for me and for the clients. So that's what I mean around adapting our communication and knowing our opposite personality styles. Being able to do that type of adaptation it's within us, because we all have all parts within us. There's just different contexts in your life where you're going to be more I, more D, more S, and more C, right? And those contexts are probably not at work, where it's all high, fast pace and all stressful. But as a manager, this is the behavior you're going to model, because this gets the best performance out of a team.
I have a pretty good aim too. I really love the disc. I used it at my last job and it was really extremely helpful. I'm excited about getting back and getting the team on board, finding out what their disc assessment is so I can learn to speak to them.
What we've seen and why the disc is so popular is that managers who do this really inspire improved performance on the team. It creates a collaborative environment where people are ready to come together and are really ready to take a risk to say something that might create a breakthrough in a problem or a conflict. And that's the foundation of trust that's actually built that Patrick Lencioni was talking about. That's why we really love the D. And when it's done right and it's really modeled by the managers, it can transform a work environment. And trust me, your team will catch on. It's infectious. If the manager starts to do it, it gets easier and easier and easier for the manager and for the team. The worst thing to happen is for the manager to bring this training and then not do it, because then the team gets totally beat down. Like, oh my God, we did all this training and it's not even working, and it can dig even a deeper hole for you. So you have to be careful around this training. What is really helpful to use is the Wiley Publishing Company's Disc for Managers assessment. It clearly describes your strengths and challenges around time management, directing and delegating, decision making and problem solving, and motivating others of all 4 styles. It also covers how you can best manage up and work with upper management and executives to advocate, manage conflict, and get buy-in for your ideas. Most managers we work with also have their employees take the DISC assessment and have a DISC training with their whole team. That way everybody has the same tools moving forward, and it creates a common language and culture on your team quickly. So thanks for watching our video. We have a whole series of videos to help managers and executives in doing this type of work to improve your communication and improve the performance of your teams. At any time, you can do our 2-minute mini quiz at our website, transformativetraining.com. And then you can give us a call. We'll do a 20-minute needs assessment for you over the phone, look at the results, and customize a proposal for you to move forward with doing this type of training. Thanks again for watching.